Brown Seneca-Soshin elk top 10 loss. Today I want to talk about loss in different walks of life, personal life, professional life. And in personal life, some of the losses can be very dear to us, like losing a family member, a parent, a spouse, even our children. And then in professional or even our material side of our personal life, like losing a house, losing a job, unable to transform a company into a or an entrepreneurial effort into a successful company can be very difficult to stomach. But I would like to share something that has deeply influenced me. This comes from Stoic philosophy, one of the contemplative wisdom traditions that has shaped my life from a very young age. This comes from Epictetus, one of the famous Stoic philosophers from antiquity. He says, "You must remind yourself that you love a mortal. Nothing that you love is your very own. It's given to you for the moment, not forever or inseparably, but like a fig or a bunch of grapes in the appointed season of the year. And only a fool will long for it in wintertime. So too, if you long for a son or a friend, when he is not given to you, you are longing for them like a fig in wintertime." So there are these irreversible losses, and we must cease being a fool and think that a fig will be made available in wintertime. And this is well before preservatives and refrigeration was something that was there in every house. We are talking from 2000 years ago, but I hope you get the point. So in a similar vein, there was another interesting loss, that two losses. I faced one as an entrepreneur after enormous effort, after 5-6 years of browbeating and giving my blood and treasure. I failed as an entrepreneur. And then there was another loss, one of the losses from industry that I would like to share with you. This was back in the day when Motorola was making chipsets. I worked for Motorola a number of years, and the Motorola's chipset division called Freescale was spun off as a different company. But coming to the point, that was a good loss. In a way, there was someone who taught us a great lesson in a dog-eat-dog world competition for market share in chips. So back in the day, Motorola was somewhat of a powerhouse with its 68,000 1632-bit processor, and Apple was one of the big customers. In fact, the early Apple Mac computers had this chipset. But we had a formidable rival across the coasts. On the West Coast, we had Intel and the legendary Andy Grove. And Andy Grove, who's now very famous for his OKRs, objectives and knowledge of results approach to management, setting goals and all of that, was very keen on upsetting the apple cart for Motorola and winning business with his Intel 8086 line of chipsets. So much later, after 2 or 3 decades, I came to know how he did that. He created a program called Operation Crush. As the name indicates, it was actually to crush Motorola, set up quality goals, performance goals, and created a product portfolio, if you will, which was not only the physical chipset but also the services and the efforts that they provided Intel in terms of technical know-how and manpower to integrate those chipsets in customers' computers. And needless to say, Motorola lost the market to these B2B customers, even though the Motorola 68,000 chipset was superior performance-wise, but we were beaten on cost as well as many of the customer service and post sales services that Intel offered. They packaged the entire thing extremely well, and that was quite a loss to stomach. And unfortunately, the semiconductor division of Motorola went downhill. But that was a very good lesson, and it was a good loss to someone who made waves in the industry, and his books are still read as of today, and also his product management style. But that was the kind of, I say it in a good way, a good killer instinct, a formidable competitor like Intel under the helm of Andy Grove brought to the table and beat us black and blue. So, to go back to losses, there are these losses on the personal front, irreversible losses, and some of the losses actually make us wiser. And these losses in business actually are great learnings for us. So, in life, I think this was said by Mandela, there are these W's and L's. W stands for wins, and L is not for a loss, but the learning that comes from a loss, and we can discover the abilities and the fortitude that within us that doesn't generally surface otherwise without a loss, especially in grief. So these are some of the things that uh, we can we can put forth to overcome this loss, take the learnings, and try once again. Or in the case of an irreversible loss, realize or have the wisdom to know that we cannot be longing for a grape or a fig in wintertime, and we have to move on. Thank you and have a good evening. Bye bye.